Here's something that's been making headlines in the world of Formula One. Bernie Ecclestone, the former chief of F1, has dropped a bombshell that has left the racing fraternity reeling. He disclosed his prior knowledge about the Crashgate scandal of 2008, where Nelson Piquet Jr. deliberately crashed to give his teammate, Fernando Alonso, a competitive edge. This shocker has led Felipe Massa, who lost the championship to Lewis Hamilton by a mere point, to consider legal recourse. Massa is now aiming to get himself acknowledged as the rightful champion of that season. Hamilton and Piquet, along with others involved, have been compelled to respond, with Hamilton claiming he has no recollection of the events, and Piquet sharing his side of the story. Jean Todt, the current president of the FIA, has shown empathy towards Massa but remains neutral. Meanwhile, McLaren stands firm in its belief that Hamilton's championship win was fair and square. A riveting saga, wouldn't you agree? Well, that was a bit intense, wasn't it? For those who don't know me, I'm Enzo, your dedicated guide through the fast-paced world of Formula One. Alongside me is the seasoned and insightful commentator, William, ready to delve into the nitty-gritty of racing.
Glad to be here, Enzo.
Fantastic! We're here to bring you the hottest topics in F1 every single day, broadcasting live on the F1 Motor Fever podcast channel at 3 in the afternoon and 7 in the evening. If you're enjoying our show, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell and leave us a comment. Share with your friends and family too, it really helps us keep the wheels turning here.
And we do love hearing from you all.
Absolutely, William. Now, hold on to your seats because we've got a real corker up next. You won't believe what I'm about to reveal. Stick around. This news is significant because it could change the official records, and it's another stark reminder of the lengths people go to for a competitive edge in this sport.
Can't wait.
Foot down. Hold tight. Here we go. Felipe, Vicente, hit the jingle. Taking a closer look at this saga, it all started with an interview published on the 1st of March, 2023. Bernie Ecclestone, the former kingpin of Formula One, made some explosive remarks that have set the wheels in motion. In an article on F1 Insider, Ecclestone claimed that he only recognized Michael Schumacher as a 7-time world champion, casting doubt on Lewis Hamilton's 2008 title victory with McLaren. Controversial, wouldn't you say, William?
Indeed, it seems Ecclestone is no stranger to stirring the pot.
Absolutely right, William. Behind Ecclestone's provocative statement lurked a confession that has turned the tables. Ecclestone admitted that he was aware, back in 2008, of a plot during the Singapore Grand Prix. Nelson Piquet Jr., the Brazilian driver, intentionally crashed to help his teammate, Fernando Alonso, secure a win. This plan was orchestrated by none other than Flavio Briatore, the head of Team Renault back then. Quite the revelation, isn't it, William?
It certainly is, Enzo Watts. The ramifications of such a confession are immense.
This news was a veritable bombshell considering the Crashgate scandal didn't come to the public's attention until 2010.
Actually, Enzo, I believe it was 2009 when the Crashgate scandal first came to light.
Yes, thank you for the correction, William. My apologies, folks, it was indeed 2009. Now, as per the rules of the FIA, the history of the 2008 championship couldn't be rewritten. Hamilton had already been crowned as champion, so there was no room in the regulations for any challenge to that turbulent season where Felipe Massa became the runner-up.
That must have been a hard pill to swallow for Massa.
No doubt about it, William. Especially when you consider that Massa, driving for Ferrari, lost the championship by just 1 point and was only the 13th to finish in Singapore, while Hamilton clinched a podium finish. It was a real game changer. This revelation has opened up a new avenue of possibilities. Massa sees an opportunity for action. Given this new fact, both Bernie, the CEO of F1, and Max Mosley, the then head of the FIA, knew about the Crashgate ahead of the 2008 decision in Brazil.
So, could legal action be on the cards, Enzo?
It seems Massa thinks so, William. A little over a month following Ecclestone's explosive interview, Motorsport.com published an exclusive interview with Massa on the 4th of April, conducted in Goiânia, during the 2023 stock car season opener. Massa stated he was considering taking the case to court, calling it a robbery, that those in charge of the sport did nothing about it, even when they could have intervened back in 2008.
Do you think this could have any significant impact on the history of Formula One, Enzo?
It's certainly a point of contention, William. In the same week in early April, Motorsport.com accessed raw footage from a documentary about Mosley. It confirmed that Mosley and Charlie Whiting, then F1 race director, knew about Piquet's intentional crash after Nelson Piquet, a three-time champion of the category, confessed everything on the weekend of the 2008 Brazilian GP, shortly before the race where the title was decided. It's a lot to digest, isn't it, William?
Absolutely, Enzo. It could serve to remind us all that what occurs behind the scenes in this sport can be just as exciting as what happens on the track.
Amidst the gathering storm, Massa decided to remain silent while forming a team of lawyers. But the silence was broken on the 15th of August, 2023, when a new development emerged.
Do share, Enzo, what was this new development?
Well, William, Massa's legal team sent a letter addressed to Mohammed Ben Sulayem, the current president of the FIA, and Stefano Domenicali, the CEO of F1. The letter outlined Massa's intentions to reopen the case in the English courts. Now, this letter, which Motorsport.com had access to in Brazil, is a mandatory precursor to any legal action in the UK. It's meant to demonstrate an individual's intentions prior to a lawsuit and demands a substantial response from the other party involved.
So, what does this mean for the FIA and F1, Enzo?
Well, William, the two entities, FIA and F1, had 48 hours to confirm receipt of the letter, which they did, and then 14 days to provide the requested, substantial response. It's a ticking clock, isn't it?
It certainly is, Enzo. It seems Massa is determined to take this issue as far as he can.
Just a quick side note here. The information we've been discussing is primarily sourced from an article on the Motorsport site, written by Erick Gabriel, and published on the 29th of August, 2023. William Turner, I believe you're familiar with this site.
Indeed, Enzo. Motorsport is a reputable source for all things racing. But as always, it's good practice to verify information from multiple reliable sources.
Absolutely right, William. Now, getting back to our discussion. However, Massa didn't have to wait for the full 2 weeks. According to Motorsport.com, who spoke exclusively to Massa at the oval stage of the stock car event in Goiânia, he has already received a response from the FIA and F1.
Does he disclose what the responses entailed, Enzo?
No, he opted not to reveal the content of the responses. There's also a rather notable silence from Nelson Piquet. Massa disclosed that he tried to contact Piquet, hoping the father of Nelsinho could reaffirm that he informed the bosses of the sport about what happened at the 2008 Singapore GP. But, according to Massa, the three-time world champion of F1 did not want to speak with him.
So it seems like Massa is quite alone in this fight.
It seems so, William. At the last event in Goiânia, Massa stated he would see this through to the end, suggesting that the responses from the FIA and F1 were not as substantial as required by the letter, indicating a likelihood of future developments. Additionally, the former Ferrari driver firmly asserted this venture is not about money. His aim is to be recognized as the 2008 F1 champion. As you can imagine, William, in the 4 months since the case resurfaced in the media, those involved in the case have been questioned. Hamilton, for example, reportedly said at the Dutch GP that he couldn't recall what happened in 2008, preferring to keep his focus on the present.
Convenient memory loss, or just a professional keeping his eyes on the prize, Enzo?
We can only speculate, William. Frederick Vasseur, current head of Ferrari, expressed a disliking for altered results, but chose not to get involved. Our very own Nelsinho Piquet, on his podcast, Pelas Pistas, spoke about the case as soon as Massa declared his intentions to take legal action.
So he did break the silence then?
Indeed, William. He recounted his version of what transpired in Singapore and detailed how he was coerced by Briatore into participating in the scheme. And then, he too fell silent on the matter. You know, William, there's some saying about silence being golden.
Enzo, you do have a knack for stirring the pot, don't you? But we must remember, these are just speculations. They're interesting, they spice up our discussions, but we cannot confirm them as true.
Wise words, William. Let's carry on. Now, William, there's a real curveball in this saga. When asked about whether he supports Massa in his endeavor, Jean Todt told motorsport.com that while he would always support Massa as he considers him part of his family, he wouldn't pass any judgment. Massa made the decision to file a lawsuit and Todt felt it inappropriate to comment further on the matter.
So Todt remains non-committal on the issue then?
Yes, precisely. It's a complex situation with many intricacies and sentiments involved. Makes you wonder if there are more layers to this still unraveling in the paddock.
Indeed, Enzo. This saga seems like it's far from over. An unexpected turn of events in a race that ended more than a decade ago. What a time to be a Formula One fan.
Couldn't agree more, William Turner. Let's see how this race unfolds off the track. This all leaves us in a bit of limbo, doesn't it, William Turner? We have Massa pursuing recognition, Hamilton focusing on the present, Todt maintaining a neutral stance, and Piquet remaining silent since revealing his side of the story.
It certainly does, Enzo. It's like a race where the checkered flag hasn't been waved yet. We're all waiting for that final lap, anticipating the outcome. But until then, we watch, we discuss, and we ponder over the many possibilities that this unprecedented situation presents.
Absolutely, William. It's a testament to the fact that the drama in Formula One isn't confined to the racetrack. It's a sport that continues to captivate and surprise us, even when the engines are turned off.
And that's why we love it, isn't it, Enzo?
Absolutely, William. And I'm sure our listeners would agree. Formula One isn't just a sport, it's a passion, it's a spectacle, and sometimes, it's a mystery waiting to be unraveled. William, I'm curious. What's the latest chatter on the internet today about our beloved sport?
Let's have a look, Enzo. User Mazda Driver 14 posted, Leclerc says he can't wait to drive brand new 2024 car Ferrari had promised. Sparked quite a discussion, this one.
Ah, good old optimism. What are the motorheads saying?
Well, Mazda Driver 14 himself comments, a literal, there's always next year. Amazing. User Negotiation External 1 chimes in, here's Charles, sticking to the company line as always. They do Lake Laogai level PR training at Ferrari. He cannot escape, he cannot get out.
Ha ha ha, Lake Laogai. A little pop culture reference there.
Indeed, Enzo. There's quite a debate going on. User M19208 reflects, if his optimism is legit, I have to admire it. If I were in his spot, I would have zero hope for the future based on everything that's happened. User FakeTakianOway comments, maybe he has faith in Fred, who wasn't around when this absolute shitbox was being designed. They have worked together well in the past.
Interesting takes. Any funny ones in there?
Ah, indeed. User Beaten Miska predicts, title after Bahrain 2024, Leclerc says he can't wait to drive brand new 2025 car Ferrari have promised.
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that. Keep faith in the prancing horse, ladies and gents. Let's see how this unfolds. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much to all of you for tuning in. We've had quite a ride today, journeying through the fascinating world of Formula One, exploring the drama, excitement, and the unexpected twists and turns. Don't forget to subscribe to F1 Motor Fever podcast, activate the notifications and engage with us in the comment section. Your feedback and participation drive this show.
Absolutely, Enzo. And folks, remember, you can catch F1 Motor Fever podcast every day at 3 and 7 o'clock in the evening, rain or shine. That's a date you don't want to miss. And oh, be sure to share our channel with your friends, family, that chatty taxi driver, even your slightly grumpy neighbor who could use a bit of F1 thrills in their life.
Wouldn't be able to do this without the support of our fantastic technical team, Felipe and Vicente. You guys are the real MVPs.
Couldn't have said it better, Enzo. And folks, we've got plenty more excitement lined up for you in the coming episodes. So, stay tuned.
As we always say here at F1 Motor Fever Podcast, pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road, our channel's content is pure gold. Roll the vignette.